Just gonna wait here for a few minutes until some folks join. I'm also here in the live chat if you have any questions. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. I won't get to them right away because I'm both the question moderator and the host. Today we're going to be going over something for most people is seemingly pretty simple, pretty basic. Basically, be covering some information on lights. And why I thought this would be kind of interesting to go over is because when you go to buy lights on Amazon and such, there are a lot of options out there. And everyone claims a little bit different specs. Everyone has a different pricing. And are those specs what they say they are? And basically I was going to go over those. Should be a pretty short live session. And at the end I was going to go over a few things that you might be interested in and why your lights might be burning out faster than you expect and such. And we'll cover that, yeah. Let's see. And I also have a couple oddball lights. I was gonna show a little bit of specs on these and kind of how they work and what to expect from them. They claim they are super bright, but in certain ways. I also have this little odd one. Basically all the LEDs are right up against the face of it on these guys. This one has a bunch on this top. This one just has a few. But basically I got a number of lights from both Costco, and I got several different ones. I got a few of the 5K and a few brands of the 3K for the color. So these are the 3K are the more the warm colors, and the 5K is going to be your cool white, kind of sun-like colors, more of a daylight color. And every single one of them claim a little bit different specs for wattage, for luminous and such. And I'm going to show you basically what those get. So I have the first set right here. These are the 5K light bulbs. So it'll be a cool white. We're gonna plug those in here. So there you have all of them. The bottom one is your Costco, and these are all different Amazon brands. But this one runs at about 11.5 watts, 13.5 watts, 11.5 watts, 17 watts for the Costco. And your lux output, basically I measured the how much brightness came out of them from 2 feet away, and I measured the lux, and basically top one got 620, 710, 725, 820. They're all pretty close to how much wattage they used, but overall this one from Amazon, which is the where'd the box go? This Amazon Sunco lights actually turned out to be the most efficient, the most lux from 2 feet away At 11.5 watts, it got 725, the brightest of the bunch. And it turned out to be the lowest wattage and almost the brightest of the bunch. The Costco light here, which is by Fleet Electric, it was overall the brightest, but it used 17 watts to obtain that brightness compared to 11 and a half. And in reality, you ain't gonna know much difference once you get it up in the ceiling. So that's kind of what you have for the 5K. Sunco turned out to be the winner in that one. And I was going to post the results of all the specs on these lights in my channel on the community tab. So tomorrow, go check it out. After tomorrow, it'll be posted. And you can see the Sunco and a link to it, as well as these other lights, if you're interested. So I was going to go over the 3K lights next. So let's move to those guys. So I have a little bit more topic on the 3K because I wanted to share some information about what happens to the lights as they get older. So a lot of people don't realize this, but as lights age, as they go through, they might last 5 years if you have them in a proper fixture. They don't keep that brightness for 5 years. They slowly degrade and get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Very slowly, but over time they'll just keep getting dimmer. And these three bottom ones are older lights. These are both these two are actually, these two are 2 to 3 years old. This is actually my demonstration. This is a 9 watt 800 lumen light, so it's a really kind of a lower end, lower brightness light compared to all these. These are all 100 watt equivalents. This is more of like a 60 watt equivalent. And I was going to show you here, this 60 watt equivalent is actually brighter. This new 60 watt is actually brighter than this 2-year-old 100 watt equivalent light. The lux I measured off of this one was 200, and the lux I measured from this one was 265. So it's 30% brighter than this guy right here. And they both still consume, these old lights still consume the same wattage they did the first day they're plugged in. It's just the light degrades over the years and it gets dimmer and dimmer. So if you've got a lot of old LED lights in your house, it's not that your eyes are getting bad, it's just the lights are starting to get dimmer over time. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Even though they claim like, oh, they'll last 10 times longer than your other bulbs, they do output light, but they output less and less over the years. So if you do happen to get a 8, 9, 10-year-old light, it's not going to be very bright at that age compared to a new one. Let's plug this guy in. I kind of show you. So here's the whole light bar. So this is your little 60 watt equivalent compared to these 100 watts. And this one actually produces more light than this one, and just a little bit less than this one here. And this is only consuming just under 9 watts, and these two are consuming 11 watts each. And so that's kind of a little bit of a story about the your aging of lights. So get up to these new ones. So these two are on Amazon. This is a Costco. They're all set to about 3K, 2700, and this one's 3K for the color setting. For the specs on these, they're 11.5, and then 17. Again, this felt electric light from Costco consumes the most uh, wattage. And the lux from this 650, 530, 640. So actually, this 11.5 watt light produces more output than this 17 watt. So after all said and done, these three new ones I was looking at, this guy is the clear winner. And that one is Vation lighting. So Vation lighting on Amazon had the most efficient 100-watt equivalent light, only at 11.5 watts with 650 lux. So again, I'll put this information on my channel under the community post. So tomorrow, after tomorrow, you could go check that out. And you can see a link to these lights and kind of see the specs and how they differ from what they claim. So some interesting tidbits. This one that was the brightest as well, it did claim that it consumed 14 watts, but I only measured using this watt meter here. I only measured 11.5. So it actually they overrated. They said it used more wattage than it actually did, which is a good thing, but might not be the best for their sales. But it uses less watts than they claim and produces more light than the others. And they actually they rated at 1700 lumens, which was higher. They rated this one at 1600 and the Costco one at 1600. So they rated it higher than most, and it is brighter than most as well. So that's kind of the little lowdown on the 3K warm style lighting. And I want to move on to the special lighting. So let's go there and check those out. So on these specialty lighting, guys, there's a little tidbit on that. So this guy right here, so they're super bright actually, but they're more, this is a 5K color light. Here's your bottom, if you have it going down this way, or your top if you have it going up this way. But if you have these up in a fixture, your downward light, like to a table here, is going to be no more than 100-watt light. So this light consumes almost 30 watts. And most of that power is going to be trajected kind of domeward outwards and not straight down in that area. So keep that in mind. When I measure it this way, the lux is 1020. When I measure it this way, the lux is 630. So it's really equivalent to these lights and the right underneath it. So that's one thing to note. And if we move on to the other one, it's even so it doesn't, it just has a little thin row of lighting here. So this consumes 28 watts, actually 29 watts. And the this downward lighting is kind of like a 60-watt equivalent light. It actually, you could kind of see on the table almost a shadow directly under it compared to further off here. And its downward lighting here is only at 350 lux. So compared to like these 100-watt ones that got 650, it's like half, almost half as bright straight down on a table. And then the side was actually 1180 lux. So it puts off a lot of light toward the sides. So like something like this might be good for outside in those lamps that you're wanting most of your light to project outwards, and not downwards. Now one thing to note is what I want to like chat about. If you have lights that are getting that are kind of burning out constantly, like these lights should be lasting way longer than they should. They always say they have much longer lifespan than your old incandescents or whatever, or fluorescents. Most of these lights, in fact, all the ones I got off of Amazon, they'll have a, it might be hard, you probably won't be able to see it, but they'll have some writing on here, and it will state on here that they're not for use in enclosed fixtures. So if you're putting them in you know, those closet lights or laundry room lights, or those lights that close all up in an enclosed fixture, this literally inside here becomes an oven, and these just bake to death. They aren't designed to handle all that heat, and just get baked, and literally the circuitry will just go out on them, and you could see them burn out as soon as 2 months, or maybe if you're lucky last up to a year. But having them in these enclosed fixtures where they are pretty much sealed up when you install it, even the outdoor ones where you have those outdoor lights that are all glassed in, enclosed, and you have those in there, I've done it myself, and these have burnt out as soon as 2 to 3 months, compared to others in an open fixture that last years. So most of these that you'll find, they might not state it in the Amazon descriptions, but most of them in some writing somewhere, usually on the light themselves, like almost all except for these ones, the box actually says do not use these lamps in enclosed areas for these guys. This one too doesn't say it on the lamp, but on the box it reads do not put these in enclosed fixtures. And every single one of them I bought, even these ones that turned out to be the best, all of these stated on the light bulb not to put them in enclosed fixtures. The only one of the bunch was the Costco light, the one that drew the most wattage. It says on here suitable for use in enclosed fixtures. So the Costco felt electric light is the only one out of 3, 6, 9 lights that I tested and checked out that could be used in an enclosed fixture. All the other ones, you put them in an enclosed fixture, their lifespan is going to be dramatically reduced, like to being the point that it's very cost ineffective to use them. You might as well buy a more expensive light that can handle an enclosed fixture. So that's my little tidbit for lights and what to be careful for. And there's one other thing I wanted to chat with you, was on the light bulbs that are burnt out. You think they're burnt out? Yeah, sure, it's no big deal. They're not consuming any electricity. But let me find out. Let me actually just put it right here. Have this plugged into the watt meter already. So here we have one that works, so it's lighting up. And here we have one that's burnt out, so it's not lighting up. But you can see here, it's still consuming wattage. This one not so much. I mean, 0.6 watts. But it is one of those kind of a little watt burners that's not doing anything for you. So if you got several lights burnt out, they're still drawing power. Some more than others. The two that I have here that don't work, this one works, but I had one other ones here that didn't work. They're both consuming about 0.6, 0.7 watts burnt out. And so they'll still consume wattage, some more than others. Mine were pretty insignificant, but that's something to note. If they are burnt out, take them out so they're just not burning watts for no reason. And that's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. This is just a little lowdown on different lights. And just to summarize, if any of you guys are joining late, I kind of went over both the 5K lights, which I have here. We have, you know, the Costco one, and then we had 3 different Amazon ones. We had the clear winner here that used the least amount of wattage, which was 11.5 watts, and was one of the brightest, 725 lux. And the only one brighter was the Costco one, but it was burning 17 watts compared to the 11.5. And it was just a little bit brighter. You really can't tell. It's a little brighter, but it's not much. Overall efficiency would be this guy, which is which was the Sunco. The Sunco that turned out to be the best one from Amazon. The least amount of wattage and the brightest overall per watt. And then I went over a few of the warm colored lights. And on the warm colored lights, we have another clear winner here, which was number this one, Vation Lighting. And it actually claimed that it consumed 14, but from my measurements on it, is only consuming 11.5 watts. And it was brighter than all these other ones that I had. Brighter than the Costco one that was consuming 17.5 watts. And so 11.5 at 650. This was only 640 using 70 watts. So and that actually turned out to be the smallest bulb of the of these 3 here. So the smallest bulb is actually the brightest bulb of them all. So, you know, size doesn't always matter in this case. And I was also covering earlier how your lighting over the years will actually degrade, will get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer over the years. This is just a 60 watt equivalent light. This is brand new. That does 265 lux, so 265. This is a 3-year-old light, drawing 11 watts, and it's producing 200 lux at the same distance. So this is 60 watt equivalent is 30% brighter than this 100 watt light. And you know, it's still consuming 11 watts, and this is only 8.8 watts. So over time, they get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer to the point where you're just burning more energy than you're getting light. So it's something to think about, you know, over 3, 4, 5 years. It's not your eyes that are getting worse, it's just the lights that are getting worse. and you're still burning all the same watts and all those lights. So if you need your light back, you might want to go refresh all your lights with some brighter ones again. And as technology improves and over the years, you get more light per watt as well. So if you have 5-6-year-old LEDs and they're getting dimmer and dimmer and still burning the watts, it might be advantageous if you're spending a lot of electricity to get the newer LEDs, get more light output, lower wattage. So that's pretty much it for lighting. And again, if you had any questions, just throw them in the chat there real quick. I'll check it out if anyone's chatting in there. Pretty simple topic, but there's some interesting stuff about lights that a lot of folks didn't know about. And if you just joined, one last thing, every single one of these lights, except for one, all these lights that I was testing, like 9 different brands, they all stated that they cannot be installed in closed fixtures that seal themselves off and don't stay opened. Basically, these lights will go in here and it'll just turn into an oven, and the electronics in here aren't designed to handle that heat, and you'll get significantly lower amount of runtime on these. You won't get 50,000, 60,000, however many thousand hours, 25,000 hour lights hours for them. You'll get probably 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. If you're lucky, these will run a year in there and then burn out because they're just getting baked to death, electronics. The only one that I got that could handle enclosed lighting where it's sealed off is the electric light, which was from Costco. The Costco light states on it, suitable for use in enclosed fixtures. And all these other ones will state on them that they're not suitable for enclosed fixtures. So every one of these had a label on them, and not necessarily all of them on Amazon or wherever you're buying them will state it on the box. You have to really hunt for it, and if you do get one that it is going to go in a closed fixture, you might want to think twice before you spend the money on them. Make sure you get the ones that can handle an enclosed fixture, because they'll last a lot longer and it'll be much more valuable per buck when you buy the ones that are suited for enclosed fixtures, because these will last for years in there depending on your usage, compared to months with these other ones that aren't intended for that. And you guys will know what I'm talking about if you're changing out bulbs all the time, and those outdoor fixtures that are totally glassed in, that too, they'll burn out in those. It's just a little oven that they sit in. The ones that say they're not intended for totally enclosed fixtures, they need to be ideally in a lamp where there's nothing around it except for a shade, and all the heat could just exhaust off of it. If it's in one of those recessed lighting in the ceiling, it's a little bit better, but still all that heat rises and they're getting a bit baked in there, but they do have a little bit opening, but you will lose some hours off of them, even in those recessed lighting in the ceiling. They're really best suited for lamps where the heat could totally dissipate, because heat rises. If it's in a ceiling in those recessed lightings, all that heat rising is just going back and baking the electronics over all the hours and years that it's on for. So that pretty much covers it. If you have any questions, shoot them out in the chat before I sign off here. It's a little bit of info on the old lighting. So I'll see y'all later. Be sure to check out the channel and go to the community posts, and I'll post a link to the best lights that I tested, and you can check that out and see the information on them. I'll show all the specs that I measured for each of these lights and have the links for all of them as well. So if you're interested in getting any LED lights, you could have the real measured specs on them. So till next time, we'll see you guys later.